The top 10 games to play when you're feeling nostalgic. There's nothing quite like a game that has the power to take you back to your first gaming experiences. Especially after the trying times that we, the world collectively, there is just something so nice about an activity that takes you back to your childhood and simpler times. Whether it's eating your favorite childhood snack on a cozy night in, running through the spray of a sprinkler on a hot summer day, or playing a video game that reminds you of the good old days. We all need a touch of nostalgia from time to time to keep us sane through adulthood. If you're looking for inspiration for your next nostalgic activity, you don't need to look any further than the contents of this video, and celebrate this Throwback Thursday and the top 10 games to play when you're feeling nostalgic. Number 10. There's nothing quite as nostalgia-inducing as a game that just represents the beginning of amazing gaming in every way. There are several of these types of games on this list, and the first one is Miss PacMan. An absolutely iconic game in every way, Miss PacMan is one of the most memorable and well-known nostalgic games of all time. Something particularly amazing about Miss PacMan is that it introduced one of the first playable female characters in gaming, and it improved upon what was already available in Pac-Man. Some people even say that Miss PacMan is the better option between the games. Number 9 and 8. In this same vein of the most memorable games that are just overflowing with vintage game qualities is the ever-popular Galaga, which goes hand in hand with another stellar option, which is Tetris. They are similar in feel and in the era of design, but they are different enough in actual gameplay and in objectives that they can be enjoyed entirely on their own for their own special qualities. On the Galaga front, one particularly interesting fact is that it only took about 2 months to be designed in the original planning phase, according to its creator, Shigeru Yokoyama. This is incredible, considering how advanced Galaga was at the time it was created, and it all came from an initial session of 2 months. In terms of Tetris, the simple game of falling blocks that you get to put in order is remarkable and addictive, because it satisfies the human need to create order. If you've ever wondered why you find Tetris so addictive, you're not alone. The ability to create order out of chaos compels anyone who plays Tetris to keep playing. Number 7. For many people, the game that sticks with them the most is simply the game they have been playing the longest and that they always go back to. A lot of the time, this game is World of Warcraft. WoW is a nostalgic game no matter which version you are playing, but the most memorable is, of course, WoW Classic, which has the power to transport you back to your earliest gaming memories. WoW Classic really brings you back to your original gaming days, and since it has retained its original content, it can remind you of how many things have changed in WoW, and many of the things that you might not have realized you missed, namely, more dangerous battles and opponents, which gives you even more of a reason to pay close attention to this classic game. Number 6. A near and dear option that even non-gamers have heard of is the Zelda collection of games. I knew what Zelda was for several years before I even began playing any games, and although I am yet to actually play a Zelda game, I already feel that it's deeply ingrained in my gaming world. That's just how intensely nostalgic it is. The truly amazing thing about Zelda is how simple it is, or at least, how simple it seems. When you really examine it, you could see that Zelda is the perfect mix of everything you could want in a video game, from adventure, to a great setting, to just pure fun. It is a game that is, to put simply, beautifully put together. Number 5. No list of nostalgia-inducing games would be complete without the classic that is the original Super Mario Bros. We all have our own favorite Super Mario games, and of course, they're all nostalgic for each of us. But none is more memorable than the original, because it sparked the creation of all the rest. Super Mario Bros. Was the start of so many iconic characters that are now a steadfast part of the gaming world. Like Zelda, the Super Mario group of games, from the original all the way up to the most recent games, are all fairly straightforward, but they hold those elements of adventure, joy, and amazing design that make any video game an absolute masterpiece. Number 4. There are so many fighter-style games out there, with different followings for each one, but if you were to mention Halo to anyone remotely involved in gaming, they would instantly recognize it as something that transports them back to their early gaming days, especially Halo 1. There is nothing quite like a game that can define the rest of the category it falls into. Halo 1 was the start of what people love about the Halo collection of games. It manages to pair a classic shooter game with amazing settings to keep you intrigued in where you are and what you're doing. Number 3. While I was working on this video, I read a snippet about the Tycoon collection of games, and it reached a part of me that I hadn't realized was still there. I used to play the Tycoon games when I was a young kid, and to this day, they still remain in my childhood memories of some of the most creative and interesting exploration games. Zoo Tycoon in particular will forever be a part of me, and will always be filled with nostalgia. The Tycoon games are really exceptional because they let you live out something out of a fantasy world. Creating your own animal kingdom, I mean, let's be honest, Didn't we all dream about this as children? I can say with absolute certainty, the Tycoon games, and Zoo Tycoon in particular, gave me the opportunity to experience something that I had only ever dreamed about before. Number 2. Another gaming institution that cannot be left out of the nostalgic list of games is the Pokemon series, starting all the way back in 1996 with Pokemon Red, when it was still in black and white. Pokemon has come a long way since 1996, but those early games marked the beginning of the nostalgia and the absolutely intense fandom around the Pokemon world. One of the really remarkable things about the original Pokemon games is how similar they feel compared to the newer games. Though the times have certainly changed, the familiar fabric of collecting Pokemon and battling your way through the gyms has remained the same. And what makes the originals even better is that they have some of those Pokemon that have become so iconic now, but were quite familiar at the time. Number 1. This list wouldn't be complete without Sonic the Hedgehog from 1991. Sonic is famous worldwide at this point, and his fame and nostalgic power all started in this first game. The speediest hedgehog in the world got his start in the 90s, and his supersonic speed has carried him through as an icon all the way to the 21st century. A somewhat obscure and absolutely awesome fact about Sonic is that he was the first video game character to appear in balloon form in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. He paved the way for many other video game icons to appear in the parade, and he cemented his own legendary existence in the world of gaming. All of these games carry some serious weight in the gaming community, both because of their nostalgic past and because they still remain excellent games so many years after they were released. Let us know in the comments which of these games sparked the most nostalgic memories for you, and drop a note on your other favorite games that you will hold on to forever, so that we can all share in the nostalgia together.